Tressa Young. I'm here with Shirley Hughes from the Toronto Silent Film Festival. Shirley, this is an amazing undertaking for the festival this year. What was it like trying to put it all together?
Well, I have done events in the past, but never film events, so it was a little bit of a learning experience for a few things. It's just a matter of organizing things, finding the films which you think are really going to capture the imagination of the audience, and films which you also want to represent silent film for, because an awful lot of people have never seen a silent film, and certainly never seen a silent film up on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Now, what got you interested into organizing this event?
I've been a film buff all my life. And when I was young, we didn't have VCRs, we didn't have the internet, so it was a little bit harder to see films, but I remember staying up late at night, propping the eyelids open with toothpicks, watching CBC, which had an awful lot of older films on, and a few silent films, and I was hooked.
Really? Now, you talked about most people haven't seen silent films, especially my generation. Mm-hmm. Now, when they go there, does the silent film really connect with the viewers?
I think it does, and I think it connects with the viewers for several reasons. Silent films, because there is no dialogue, I mean, there is no such thing as a silent film. Let's get that out of the way first. They're pre-dialogue, they're pre-background noise. Silent films were always shown with musical accompaniment. Mm-hmm. So for silent films, because there is no dialogue, the audience actually has to become a little bit more engaged with the film. Because you cannot hear the actors' voices, you project your own voice into that character. You have to pay a little bit more attention to silent films because it is entirely a visual media. But because you can put yourself, your voice, and therefore yourself into that character, I think you become a little bit more engaged.
When the films are being chosen into the festival, mm-hmm. What are some key points you're looking for? I'm
looking for a film that, one, we have a very good print of. 80% of silent films have been lost. In fact, 50% of all films made before 1950 have been lost. So an awful lot of these older films, there may not be good prints available. I think in order to get people involved in watching silent film and realizing it's not this scratchy, doopy, overexposed, underexposed, shown at the wrong speed type of thing, which I think a lot of people have been exposed to in short spurts. I want them to see the absolute beauty that silent films really were, because they were beautifully photographed.
Yeah, I would imagine so, mm-hmm. Seeing as there's no voice, everything has mm-hmm. to be perfect with the lighting and everything.
It's quite amazing. You look at a lot of the silent films, especially the ones from the mid to late 20s, and you're going, why do films not look that good today? Mm-hmm. It's because they were amazing pioneers. These people were pioneers of an industry which was developing literally day by day. You have impresarios which knew how to present entertainment. You had people that were inventing the language of film as they were creating the films themselves. And it's those filmmaking techniques which you still see nowadays on the big screen.
So they did come from the early
Absolutely.
stages.
Everything which you see nowadays on the screen, even to computer-generated films, goes back to those days. Except they didn't use computers back in those days. They used real people. So all the timing is real. None of it was in post-production. Everything which you see in silent films really did happen.
That's amazing, actually, to know that no computers were put in, so it was a lot of hard effort, I would imagine.
It was an amazing amount of hard effort by a group of incredibly talented individuals.
Mm-hmm. Now, the festival is starting April 9th.
April the 6th, actually.
April the 6th, mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for the festival?
Yeah, I hope this to be an annual event. We've partnered with the Toronto Theatre Organ Society, which is actually putting on our opening night. They're doing 7 Chances with Buster Keaton, probably one of the funniest films ever made. And then we're just doing it at a leisurely pace. It's not a marathon. We're not here to keep you in the theater for 12 hours a day, you know, showing you film after film. So it sort of unrolls on a leisurely fashion every other day and in different venues, because we wanted to bring the films to communities rather than having communities come to us. And, you know, a wide variety of films, all different musicians accompanying the films, so you have different interpretations of that film through the musician. And hopefully it'll become an annual event, and our grand purpose is actually to help with film preservation. We cannot expect to save the films from the 20s any more than we can save the films from the 70s, which are in danger of being lost, if we don't show people what it was about. If people don't care about something, they're not going to try to save them.
Exactly.
So we want to raise funds for sending students, Canadian students, into film restoration programs, so they can learn what needs to be done to save all films, not just silent films. So I wanted to pick out films which people will just sit there and go, oh my God, they have a color film? Well, there was color back in those days. Color was invented in 1915. There's been hand tinting, there's been toning, you know. Black Pirate is a beautifully restored print, original 2-strip Technicolor. Completely unlike the Technicolor you'll see in Wizard of Oz or Gone with the Wind. This is the earlier 2-strip Technicolor, and Fairbanks spent literally weeks and weeks and weeks with his team finding the perfect set colors that would work well with 2-strip Technicolor, and then he had to overcome the obstacles, the technical obstacles of filming outside versus inside, because it's completely different. So, you know, his production values were unbelievably good. And then there's Douglas Fairbanks, which is the greatest stuntman on film. I mean, we still see his stunts in films nowadays. You go to see, I went to see Pirates of the Caribbean. Fun film, you can't beat Johnny Depp, let's face it. And there's Johnny Depp or somebody else sitting there, and he's at the top of the mast and says, I know what he's going to do now. I know what he's going to do on that sail. And he takes his cutlass, puts it in the sail, and goes down the sail. Well, that's Douglas Fairbanks. Douglas Fairbanks did that, not with a stunt man. Douglas Fairbanks did that stunt. I mean, it's unbelievable what he could do on the big screen so high. Who doesn't like a pirate movie? Yeah. Who would not like Douglas Fairbanks? Let's put Douglas Fairbanks there. Buster Keaton, one of my favorites. We wanted to showcase also some of the rarities which comes across in the Thousand Laughs, Forgotten Clowns of Silent Comedy. This is not Chaplin, this is not Harold Lloyd, this is not Buster Keaton. These are 6 of the dozens of clowns back in those days which made great little comedies. All of them are funny. And people go, well, how can you hear the jokes? Well, that's not the point. You don't need to hear the jokes. These guys were unbelievably funny. They were just funny. Funny is good back in 1920 and it's good in 2010. Funny is funny. A good film is a good film.
Well, this festival sounds really interesting for people who have seen silent films before and for those who haven't. So thank you for meeting with me today for this interview.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is Shirley Hughes, and I'm Tressa. Thanks for watching.